Welcome back to CYPTV. Share, like, leave a comment. Now let's jump right into the videos.
A very strong earthquake has struck Afghanistan late tonight. At 11:47 p.m. local time on Sunday, August 31st, a magnitude 6.0 earthquake hit Nangarhar province, about 55 kilometers southwest of Asadabad in Kunar. The quake was extremely shallow, only 8 kilometers deep, which makes the shaking far more destructive. Reports confirm it was felt across a wide region, with violent shaking near the epicenter. Afghanistan is one of the most seismically active regions in Asia, and its mountainous terrain and vulnerable infrastructure make events like this especially dangerous. A shallow 6.0 has the potential to bring down homes, damage roads, and trigger deadly landslides. This area has suffered catastrophic earthquakes before, with recent disasters in 2022 and 2023 killing thousands. Tonight's quake raises immediate fears of another humanitarian crisis. The late hour will delay full assessments, but emergency response will be critical as aftershocks are expected. Landslide risk remains high across valleys and mountain passes, and the possibility of casualties and collapsed structures cannot be ruled out. We will keep monitoring closely and bring urgent updates as they come in.
There's a lot of earthquakes happening, a lot of hurricanes, a lot of wildfires. It's crazy times right now around the world. It's very volatile. I wonder what this winter is going to bring us.
This is officially the most peaceful country of 2025. So today, the annual Global Peace Index was just released, and starting with the world's least peaceful countries in 2025, we have Yemen, DRC, Sudan, Ukraine, and Russia in dead last for the first time. On the other end, we have Switzerland in 5th, Austria in 4th, New Zealand taking bronze, Ireland in 2nd, and Iceland is this year's most peaceful country. Canada is 14th, the UK is 30th, China is 98th, South Africa is 124th, and just 4 places below them is the United States. Only 21 places higher than North Korea. So the question is, do you agree with this list or not?
I'm not surprised the United States is ranked so low with everything that's going on.
Go that way!
If you enjoy content like this, I put out several videos a week. It would be amazing if you hit the subscribe button and join me in the next video.
Our prayers for the victims of the tragic shooting during a school mass in the American state of Minnesota. We include in our prayers the countless children killed and injured every day around the world. Let us plead God to stop the pandemics, large and small, which infects our world.
What has happened to The Rock? I remember this version of The Rock right here. Who is this? Who is that? Honestly, he looks kind of similar to Al Roker, this slimmed down version of The Rock. So can somebody tell me what exactly is going on and why pretty much all of these celebrities anymore are looking different? Because let's be honest, he hasn't looked like The Rock that I grew up watching for quite some time. People could say all they want, oh, it's just age. But honestly, does this look like the same person to you? You tell me what is going on here, because there is something weird going on. What do you think?
From what I hear, he lost weight to do a movie role, but who knows nowadays, right? That could just be a distraction for something else that's going on in the world.
I carry my pistol, rifle, whatever, for my protection, the protection of my family, and the protection of people around me. Like if somebody was bad, came inside this door, he's getting laid flat to my best ability. That's the initial reason why the Second Amendment exists. It's not for hunting or whatever. It's to defend yourself against a tyrannical government.
That's why with Eric Weinstein, I was telling him, I was like, no, all energy is expressed in motion. All motion is expressed in waves. All waves are curved. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The greater the action, the greater the reaction. The greater the reaction, the greater the resistance. The greater resistance, the greater the curvature. Since the universe is built on equanimity, everything has a balance. So there are no straight lines. Therefore, if there's no straight lines, there's no flat planes. If there's no flat planes, then there is no platonic solids that to make any of these things up. So these, even though they are averages and have worked to give you some idea, they are not accurate. And when someone has something that's a better model that proves what they're saying, that is what should be.
Jim Carrey's 62nd birthday party of November of 2024 was titled The Last Supper, by the group, of course. There is a lot to unpack in this picture. For one, I found it very, very interesting that Jim Carrey was wearing a Saturn shirt, while Seth Green was wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt. What is he doing to his eye? A lot of people would say I would do anything to be in this room with this group of guys. This is some of Hollywood's most famous comedians. However, have we been fooled by the characters they play on and off screen? Let's take Jim Carrey, for example.
I don't exist. So they're all characters that I played, including Jim Carrey, including Joel Barish, including any of those things. They're all characters.
And why would any Hollywood celebrity create a character off screen for the public?
Because I thought I was just building something that people would like, but it was a character.
Do any of you remember Catriona White? She took her own life in 2015 after being Jim Carrey's on and off girlfriend of 3 years. Catriona wrote a letter 2 years prior to taking her own life, claiming that Jim Carrey introduced her to various things, including mental abuse, disease, substances, bad atmospheres, you name it. Catriona's mother and her ex-husband both tried to take Jim Carrey to court for the alleged wrongful death of Catriona. However, by February of 2018, the case was thrown out and life went on for everyone. Well, except for Catriona. And let's not forget the video he made for Emma Stone when she was just 22 years old.
And every day for the rest of your life, you would thank God that I was the appropriate age for you.
So does the world only love the characters they play on and off screen? Do we ever see who they really are? And like I said previously, there's a lot to unpack in this picture. I thought Jim Carrey was leaving the industry and now it's looking like he's even deeper in. Let's kind of break down who the heck is at Jim Carrey's 62nd birthday party.
You know, Jim Carrey in the beginning of his career seemed wacky, right? And now that he's older, he seems even more wacky.
The Navy admits in their defense magazine that their laser weapon that has no curvature to it whatsoever, it's not curving, can shoot down Russian and Chinese cruise missiles flying 50 feet over the water over 100 miles away. Now, let me explain to you what 100 miles is, because you didn't know a minute ago what curvature is supposed to be there at 100 miles. I'll tell you. If the Earth is a sphere 24,901 miles in circumference, the 8 inches per mile squared on average means that in 100 miles, there should be 6,666 feet of curvature. That's well over a mile of curve. There is no laser weapon shooting from a Navy ship doing this to hit a missile moving at Mach 4. I'm sorry, but the Navy admits by that the Earth is level and non-rotating.
What in the world is that they're pulling out that girl's ear?
That is... I want to show this to everybody.
This is what happens when you load food with this. That's disgusting. Okay, this is truly disgusting.
That was awesome.
No, that's not awesome. That's disgusting. That explains where my damn fish went.
That is just amazing. And I'm not sticking my finger.
Is it just me, or is food not fooding right now? Like, I've been a chef for nearly 30 years. I went and bought some inexpensive $10 a pound 80/20 Black Angus to make burgers on the grill today. While it's cooking, the smell hit my nose, and I said, this don't smell right. I pull it apart, I look at it, I get it done, and then I realize it's like Play-Doh. See, ground beef, when it comes out of the extruder, it has strings, and you can see them in the ground beef. This was more like putty, almost like silly putty, like that slime that you see that they make burgers, like frozen burger patties with, institutionalized food. This is $10 a pound on sale, private selection, Black Angus, 80/20. And I'm gonna tell you, it crumbles like it. This ain't beef. You can fool me all you want. This ain't frickin' beef. What are we eating, folks? What the hell are we eating?
That ground beef was most likely created in a lab.
And it was about enough because they had picked up a big limb and smashed it up against another tree, probably 20 yards from us. And I heard the boat move, and then we're picking them up on FLIR, and then they're filling big gaps between trees, and then all of a sudden you look up and the gap's gone, and you look up, there's a gap again, you look up, the gap's gone. We heard 3 of them. They're hardly ever by themselves. If there's one, there's another one, at least another one. And we done realized all this. I told my friend they were way too close to it. They were like right here. He said, yeah, I think it's time. Yeah, so we picked up, we just turned our lights on. We acted like we didn't even hear them. We went down there to that boat was drug out of the water. Our paddles were out of the boat sitting in front of it. And we got in and paddled our little merry selves back to the truck.
I'm fascinated by Bigfoot, but I would never want to run into one.
If ancient people drew the stuff that they saw with their own eyes, is it possible that that could include UFOs and aliens? Well, I don't know. Let's look at some of that old artwork and decide for ourselves. This is only a few hundred years old, of Jesus at the crucifixion. Look at the objects in each of the top corners, and then look at them here at the bottom where they're bigger. Those definitely look like some kind of flying craft to me. And that was painted long before airplanes were ever invented. This print from Germany is over 400 years old, and it describes an event that they saw in the sky. Once again, objects flying around hundreds of years before the first airplane was invented.
This is 1000% on point. They only use tragedies to try to push their globalist agenda. That is it.
How come all the Democrats screaming about gun laws weren't screaming about them when Trump got shot? Think about it. Every time there's a tragedy, they push their agenda. But when it happens to Trump, silence. No outrage. No calls for reform. Just silence. That shows you everything you need to know. It's never really about safety. It's always about politics.
This just in. Breaking news. Interstellar object 3I Atlas has nickel without iron and other chemical makeup that is unlike natural objects in the solar system. I was watching this video by the Angry Astronaut. Cool guy, dude. But he's talking about how this is very unlikely to be a normal comet. It was already unlikely to be a normal comet, but listen to this. The Very Large Telescope detected, they call it VLT, detected significant nickel vapor, but almost no iron in the interstellar 3I Atlas comet. Having nickel without iron is not a chemical signature found in known natural comments and is more consistent with industrial alloy refining processes. It was made by metal. They made metal.
Is a big UFO heading towards us. Word on the internet is that it's the Anunnakis making their return. What are you gonna do when they show up?
A method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat.
Well, the government have been trying to block out the sun and been using weather manipulation techniques, but they didn't want to tell you because they didn't want to worry you. Oh, thanks for not worrying us. It's certainly not a conspiracy, though, except it was in the actual Simpsons.
Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Good God. Doesn't this just generally make you believe that if it's possible for them to do it and they think that there's some advantage to doing it, they'll do it, and then they won't tell you about it because it's not that they're worried you'll be scared. Oh no, were you scared then? Oh my God, I hate the idea that you were scared. So you might be disobedient or disruptive. Why don't we immediately, right away, radically, right now, default to a position of disobedience? Mostly it's cowardice, isn't it? And lazy.
The question I'm asking is, why would they want to block out the sun? What's the point of that?
So this is a clock. You go around starting from the 6 and the 12 and take away the lower number from the higher number. So 6 take away 12 equals 6. 1 minus 7 is 6. 2 minus 8 is 6. 3 minus 9 6. 4 minus 10 6. And 5 minus 11 6. That's 6 sixes. And 6 sixes is 36. In Masonic numerology, 36 is 666 because it means 3 sixes. Here's the units of time. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. From what I've uploaded, you should know how Masonic numerology works now. 60 seconds in a minute, 6 plus 0 equals 6. 60 minutes in an hour, 6 plus 0 equals 6. And 24 hours in a day, 2 plus 4 equals 6. That's 6.
I'm crazy. Just got this Starbucks today. Took a couple drinks out of it. I got a mouthful of plastic. So we're going to see what's inside this. I bought it. I went and picked it up this morning, got out to the lake to enjoy my Starbucks. And there was a bunch of plastic in it. So we're going to see what comes out of it. Look at that. That is plastic. That was in my Starbucks cup. That is total plastic. I don't even know how much of it I swallowed. It's disgusting. Do better, Starbucks. Do better.
What is the true alien invasion?
The true alien invasion is actually the parasites in the body. The propagation of the Food and Drug Administration is what creates these parasitical entities inside your physiology. And these parasitical entities is tethered connected to the moon that's being controlled by archonic forces. So the archons control people by way of frequency because the moon is actually a quantum satellite. That's why in a full moon, a lot of people, their parasites start to basically unravel and they start to discombobulate in their system, in their genetic format. The frequencies from the moon that's being controlled by the archonic forces, this is how they control people. The great majority of these parasites have the ability to replicate themselves through the Toxoplasma gondii. And the Toxoplasma gondii is how they connect themselves to the reptilian cortex of the brain to where you're operating from a place of fight or flight. So you're not existing, you're surviving in a system that is built on illusions. A lot of people, they have an emotional connection to everything in the third dimension because the emotional connection is the biochemicalization that's coming from the genetically modified foods that's feeding the parasites. So the parasites is making you emotionally connected to the system. So the real alien invasion is really the parasites that's infiltrating the body that's being controlled by archonic forces in the lower fourth dimension when you're talking about the demiurge.
Ain't it funny how we seeing all these videos now about parasites? You think there's a connection there?
I've seen multiple people shapeshift into reptilians, not just one.
Pause. You've seen people shapeshift
Yes.
into reptilians. Are you seeing this physically happen in the physical realm, or is this something you're seeing spiritually
In the
happen?
physical realm.
Like literally their body has shape shifted into something that was non-human?
So there's a couple scenarios, like the one lady who hissed at me in the movie theater. It wasn't like her whole body turned into a reptile, but her eyes and her tongue turned into a reptile, like her face turned into a reptile. It's usually just the face that you see. And the other two, one guy had seen shape shift in person a couple of times. Like it was actually like crazy to see his head even sort of like change shape. And he actually posted a video on Instagram. You could see the eyes change and the mouth and everything, and the head change shape. And I took a screenshot of it, and he took the video down. And there's another girl that exact same thing happened to, where they shape shifted on video. I took a screenshot of it, and they took it down.
Do you have a screenshot of this?
Yeah, I have it on my phone. I have them on my phone.
If you was getting your asshole blown out to have your own show, would you want me to come around if I wasn't doing the same?
Say that again.
If you was getting your asshole blown out to have your own show, would you want me to come around if I was not doing the same?
No.
Thank you. You answered your own question. Everyone's doing things that they're not supposed to do, and I'm not doing it, so they don't want me around.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that because I'm still getting around.
It's like a ball or something.
That's what I'm saying, but you know, we both know balloons blow and they carry with the wind. That ain't tied down.
I know. You're right.
What the f is that?
What is it?
Big. Now, imagine how big it is right up there for us. Now, imagine that damn big.
It's like I want to go over there and see what it is.
Areia, floresta toda.
Isso aqui é uma foto mesmo tirada, não é?
Ah, isso é real.
Não, olha o negócio. Como que
A Cida falou que se você tirar um lugar escuro e você tirar várias, aparece coisa que você não vê.
Eu vi mais coisa, Lúcia.
Hoje não vou tirar foto.
É sagrada, você chora quando você vê ele.
Mas quero ver.
A energia dele é tão poderosa que você
não, você flutua.
E quem tirou
essa
foto? A dona Cida disse que ela flutuava quando viu.
Quando ele apareceu pra mim.
Mas a dona Cida veio, tem muita gente
Eu vou vir pra cá pra mim poder ver de novo.
Por isso que é a cura.
Que eu vou lá buscar.
Mata, ele tem quase 3 metros de altura. Olha ele ali, ó. Olha ele lá, tá vendo?
Olha, isso aqui é foto que tiraram.
É foto que eu tirei.
Ah, você...
Lá na floresta que eu vou.
Ele é um ser que aparece...
Na floresta.
Mas é assim...
Não, aquele eu quero ver as pedras. Vocês vão ver, tá doido, ele perto do caminho.
Olha ele lá, olha ele.
Olha isso aqui.
São guardiões da mata, né?
Guardião da mata.
Tem guardião do morro também.
Ele aparece na boca da noite.
Aquele que faz... Ah, parece uma... Que tá esganado, é guardião do morro.
Tipo um pai da mata.
É um espírito da floresta.
Não, olha essa foto aqui, ó. Você. E a do anjo? Passa do...
Vocês dois.
Olha só. Uma foto e isso aqui. Cadê a do anjo? Mostra a do anjo de novo.
Não, aquele brilhoso, perto da casa das pedras.
Olha aqui essa foto. Olha tipo um anjo bem aqui em cima aqui. Olha que coisa doida. Tá louco.
So Jim O'Neill just got appointed to the CDC. Now, if that name doesn't ring a bell, here's a quick refresher. O'Neill was once an associate of billionaire tech overlord Peter Thiel. And all of you should know by now who the Peter Thiel is. And if not, start doing research. O'Neill wasn't just a casual acquaintance either. He helped run one of Thiel's investment funds and manage some of his wildest projects. And by wild, I mean like seasteading, literal man-made floating islands out in international water. The idea was simple: build new nations on the ocean beyond the reach of U.S. law. You want to dodge taxes? Well, float. You want to experiment with new forms of government? You could float out there. You want a society where people live forever fueled by blood transfusions? Well, float out there. And this wasn't science fiction. It was a non-profit project called Seasteading Institute. The plan was to create experimental floating cities, like Silicon Valley's answer to Waterworld, except Kevin Costner's not drinking his pee out there. So one of the guys helping to push that vision is now sitting inside the centers of the CDC. So let's recap real quick. O'Neill was part of a movement dreaming of post-nation floating islands, and now he's in charge of real-world public health.
So it's what, 1992?
1992. I was the chief of aerospace medicine, and he said, I've got something to show you even you have never seen. Wow. And when I sat down in his chair, there's a saucer 20 feet across, was sort of like a modified egg. There were no rivets, no seams, but then later on, it rotated. It was clear as day. It said U.S. Air Force. But then when I said, why would we build it in a design like this? He looked at me and went, we got it from them. I flew helicopters and I flew F-16s. No vehicle I have ever known of could obtain a 45-degree angle of attack without moving. So when these companies say, look, we made this thing, look at how fancy it is, that's to get the people's attention so they don't look at this other thing that they're spending all the money on.
Morbid Facts, Part 723. In October of 2015, 21-year-old Dutch medical student Sophia Koetsier vanished while on a Ugandan safari after stepping away for a bathroom break just a short distance from her lodge. About 3 weeks after she disappeared, searchers found her belongings in eerie condition. Her purse and one shoe neatly placed on the ground, while the other shoe was never recovered, scraps of her fabric tied to branches like trail markers, and her underwear bizarrely hanging 15 feet high in a tree. No blood, remains, or sign of a struggle were ever found, as authorities quickly wrote it off as a wild animal attack, though experts noted that predators don't hang underwear in trees or arrange items so deliberately. Her mother has spent years fighting the official explanation, describing how it felt like the earth had simply swallowed her up, since not even a single fragment of a bone has ever been recovered. Nearly a decade later, Sophia's disappearance remains one of Africa's most haunting safari mysteries.
These videos are for entertainment and education. Real or fake, fact or fiction. Let me know what you think about these videos down in the comments section. I'd like to thank you for watching. Until next time, this is CYPTV and I'm out.